Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about the season premiere of Survivor 50 titled Epic Party. We're so back. This is my sixth season recapping the show. I'll be here all season, so if you like the content, consider liking, subscribing, and using my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. We're being nostalgia baited right from the start, with a rewind back all the way to season 1, clips of Rudy not knowing what MTV is, Rich being naked, Sue, Snakes and Rats, and a montage of greatest hits from over the years, culminating in Savannah winning 49, and Jeff revealing that this season will be in the hands of the fans. And of course, Coach quotes Magellan, "Life is for the bold who seize the opportunity as it comes, not those poor entreated souls that stay close to shore. The person that goes out in the storm reaps the high rewards." The massive 24-person cast of All-Stars pulls up on a barge, with Steph telling us she wants to prove she's one of the greats and finally win the game. Mike White says it feels like a high school reunion meets a massacre. Jeff does a giant mad chat. Everyone's proud to be there, including Jeff. We've got Jenna from season 1, all the way to Rizzo and Savannah from 49. As they all know, the fans voted on how they'll play the game. Jeff encourages them to embrace the unknown and do their thing, telling them the only thing he wants is everything. Fair ask, fair ask. He checks in with Jenna, with flashbacks to her salivating over eating rats on season 1. Jenna says she's ready to learn new lessons at a new phase in life. Mike White is taking a vacation from directing White Lotus, telling the group he has FOMO and didn't want to miss the epic party. Oop, he said the thing. Devins, who's inexplicably wearing a sweater and long sleeve collared shirt, sarcastically announces that he voted for no idols because he has no interest in them. Collective eye roll from the group. Suri gets emotional, talking about all the things the show has done for her, giving her courage. Ozzy sheds a tear for Suri. That's nice. Jeff, of course, reminds Colby there's now a bunch of adults out there named Colby because of him. And Jeff asks Coach for a coachism. Coach gives an empowering speech, rallying the group to slay some dragons. They get split into 3 tribes: Purple Vatu, Teal Callow, and Orange Sela, and a reveal of some fan votes, starting with whether or not they have rice. The fans decided not to give them rice and force them to earn it, and not give them supplies. Fans, you are sick. In their challenge, players will have varying roles, some digging under logs, solving puzzles, unlocking keys and paddles, boating out to get their torches. The first tribe to work together to unlock everything and use their torch to light up the finish will win flint and a bonfire back at their camp. They get started. Savannah is digging away. Christian says she's excavating, but Steph gets Purple to a lead in the digging, and Camilla gets a little stucky for Callow. Purple Vatu continue their lead, with Kyle and Colby getting on the boat as Rizzo chants, "Go Kyle, go Colby." With Rizzo's cheerleading, they get the torches back to shore first. In the end, Rizzo and Genevieve get their key. The Vatus light their torch and win fire as reward. The Vatus worked so well together and ate this challenge up, so they win the flint and the bonfire. Next, the 3 tribes have to fight for supplies. Each tribe needs to choose 1 representative to go on a journey to compete for their supplies. Coach and Ozzy are picked, a grudge match, with Q joining them from Vatu. Vatu get to camp. They're greeted by this unnecessarily big bonfire. What's the point of this? This is how environmental catastrophes start. Angelina tells us she's the new Angelina, who isn't trying to steal jackets this time. Steph is happy to be on Colby's tribe. As past allies from Heroes vs. Villains, Steph is on 100, saying they need to get an idol. Colby tells Steph he thinks Rizzo's annoying, with a montage of Rizzo chit-chatting as they're trying to work. Colby implies Rizzo does not have good work ethic. On Callow, Dee is happy to be back with the leaves she can wipe her butt with. The butt leaves are beautiful. She tells us she's gonna be even more cutthroat on 50 than before, and she's happy to have a well-rounded tribe. Everyone's happy they have Jonathan, who Charlie calls a mountain, and they oogle Mike White's physique. Mike tells us his plan is to be a goofball and have fun. He's gonna vote out anyone who gets on his nerves. He gets emotional, telling us he gets so stressed making White Lotus, he just wants to be out here and enjoy the experience. On Sela, Joe likes Suri, and Jenna because she ate a rat. Christian does a little dance. Devins takes a tumble. They ask Savannah about her season that none of them have seen. She decides to be honest and tell them that she won, and they congratulate her. Jenna tells us she knows Savannah got her hands bloody simply because she's here on 50. So Jenna approaches Savannah, telling Savannah she came to win, and Jenna's plan is to target Suri. Jenna then spreads all around camp that she's targeting Suri. On their journey, Coach, Ozzy, and Q get to their challenge, where Ozzy and Coach awkwardly shake hands, with flashback to Ozzy and his pigtails, telling Coach that his honor is a bunch of bull. Ozzy tells Coach he should have worked harder to get Coach to win, and Coach owns his share too. This was a sweet moment, and I love Ozzy's shambo hair in confessional. Players will race to collect 3 bags of supplies, which they'll use to build a pole long enough to get the 1 key that they're all fighting for. They get started. Every part of collecting the supplies is Ozzy's Jush. He climbs the pole at the speed of light, digs up his puzzle pieces, swims out and gets the other pieces. Ozzy has a huge lead heading into making the pole, and he builds his pole first. Coach's plan is to build a tiny, strong pole, wait for Ozzy to get the key, and then use his little pole to steal the key from Ozzy in the last moments. they're trying and trying. Eventually, Ozzy knocks the key off, and just as he planned, Coach swoops in and steals the key. Ozzy tells us after all this talk about honor, Coach then doing something sneaky is shady. Coach tells us he once again slayed Ozzy the Dragon, and Coach takes his supplies back to camp. Left behind, Ozzy and Q get another clue. They find out they're now on Exile Island. They're stuck there together all night. Q tells us he's stuck with Ozzy, who's mad at Coach for stealing the key. This is not going to be fun. Coach gets back to camp with the supplies. The Kalos lose their mind over having supplies and chant Coach's name. Coach shares with the group that he's worn his toe ring since 1988. He lets Charlie try it on. Charlie treats this as some kind of proposal. Chrissy asks Coach for an alliance and suggests they target D because she won the game. Chrissy tells us this season she wants to be diabolical and laugh while she's doing it. Over at Sela, Christian tells Devins that Jenna is going against Suri, but Devins doesn't want to talk about this right now. He's busy looking for idols. Devins and Christian love each other and agree to work together. Christian gives Devins a big hug. Christian declares Devins the Captain Kirk to his Mr. Spock. Devins pulls Emily into their alliance. She's down too. Emily is surprised that people want to work with her. After on her season, she was always on the outs. Christian gives Emily a big huggeroonie too. On Vatu, Colby asks Kyle for an alliance with he and Steph. Kyle sees Genevieve as a good ally for him, so he asks her to join the alliance. She's down. Her game plan is to be friends with everyone and quick. Aubrey and Genevieve have a tense conversation where they're half saying they want to work together but half threatening each other. Aubrey doesn't trust Genevieve and wants to cut her before Jenny cuts Aubrey. Night falls on Exile Island. Q's got bugs all over him, but they survive the night. Before they leave, Ozzy and Q get a set of supplies and are told it's up for sale. One of them will have to give up their vote and bring back the supplies. The other player will get to take their vote as an extra vote. Ozzy tells us this season he's playing as Oscar, a quick talking negotiator. Oscar talks Q into giving him the vote, and Q heads back to camp with no vote and the supplies. Back at camp, Q tells the group everything besides not having his vote, but he confesses to Kyle that the vote is gone. Kyle is happy that Q told him and wants to recruit Q into the alliance with he, Colby, Steph, and Genevieve. Ozzy returns to camp with nothing, but to lighten the mood, Christian has a plan to take everyone's glasses and use them to make fire. Christian's science project does make fire, which was insane and impressive. Christian shares to us that he just had a son, and no one knows about it, calling that his secret weapon. He can't wait for his son to grow up and see this. Devins and Suri agree that they like Christian, and Devins reveals to Suri that Jenna's been throwing her name out. Suri tells us Jenna thinks she's the queen because she was on season 1. Suri tells Ozzy about Jenna's plan. Elsewhere, Jenna continues to conspire against both Suri and Ozzy, telling people that Suri and Ozzy have history together and are friends. Ozzy declares his undying loyalty to Suri and tells her about his extra vote. On Purple, Rizzo hosts a fashion show. Genevieve in her red jacket. Kyle reveals to his tube top buff. Angelina, of course, wearing a jacket and a Q skirt. Colby is warming up to Rizzo, saying Rizzo reminds him of himself at that age. They have a bonding moment where Rizzo cries to Colby, saying Colby reminds him of his own dad. Rizzo tells us he feels like a fan, but wants to start feeling more like a player in the game. It's challenge day, and on Callow, Coach Chi, Jonathan tells us he wants to be fluid and flexible in the game. Jonathan suggests to Mike that they target D and makes alliances with Coach and Chrissy. D and Tiffany bond. Tiffany wants her alliance to be she, D, and Camilla. Camilla likes the idea of the new era women sticking together. Chrissy brushes her teeth with a plant. Players head to their challenge. This one's gonna be a doozy. Players will race up a ramp, through the mud, roll a heavy cage full of coconuts that they'll throw into baskets, unlock a bridge, work together to scale a wall, and solve a 50-piece survivor puzzle. The first 2 tribes to finish will win immunity and reward, with first place getting a big fishing kit and second a teeny fishing kit. Last place, sorry for you, you'll be heading to tribal council. They get started, getting all muddy. Purple Vatu again work well together and get to a lead, helped more by Q tossing coconuts like a pro, but Coach unlocks Callow's bridge first, and Jonathan launches the entire tribe up the wall. Suri is stuck trying to unlock the bridge, but while that's happening, Kyle tries to jump up the wall and hurts his ankle really bad. Medical clears Kyle to keep going, telling him not to put weight on his leg, so they keep going. The Vatus work together to lift Kyle up the wall. Suri eventually does unlock the bridge, giving Sela the chance to catch up, with all 3 tribes working on the giant puzzle. Callow comes first, winning immunity and big reward, coming down to Emily and Christian, trying to catch up to Angelina and Genevieve, but they can't catch up. Vatu wins second place, and Sela are going to tribal. Savannah tells us that Suri blew that challenge and cost the team the win. Back at camp, whoa, mama, that's a shock. Christian gives a pep talk to the team, saying they need to make smarter decisions in the challenges. Suri is really upset and feels guilty for costing the team the challenge. Right now, Suri is hoping people will come together to help her vote for Jenna, but Jenna's running a tough campaign against Suri. Ozzy tries to help Suri by campaigning against Jenna. Some of the others, including Christian, also see Jenna as playing way too hard, but Joe and Savannah agree that Ozzy and Suri are working together. Emily and Devin see it too. Emily jokingly suggests they sneakily vote Ozzy out, but Devins thinks it's a genius idea idea. Emily tells us she likes the idea of keeping Jenna and Suri both around hating each other. Devins gives a news report. Jenna, Suri, or Ozzy? Could be any of the three. At least it's not me. They head to Tribal, where the motif of the season continues to be big cocks everywhere. Jeff takes Jenna on a trip down memory lane, reflecting on her first Tribal when they voted for Grumpy BB. Joe tells Jeff he's still sore from Kyle and Camilla giving him a wedgie on national TV. Ozzy reflects on being immature in the past and wants to get to know everyone and play a better social game. Suri says that she and Ozzy aren't that great of friends. She even voted him out in the past, so she hopes everyone doesn't prejudge them. Suri owns that she cost the team in the challenge, but is looking to put herself out there and grow from it. They debate challenge strength versus strategy, with Christian encouraging them to write the story where they aren't the disaster tribe and can rise up from the ashes. They get to voting. Suri votes for Jenna, saying she hopes coming for her will come back to bite Jenna. No advantages are played, and Jeff reads the votes. In the end, there's 1 vote in that thing for Suri from Jenna and 7 votes for Jenna from everyone else. Jenna is devastated and tells us she hopes they lose every challenge. So we lose Jenna here, who in preseason interviews said she was going to play a low-key game and be underestimated, being quiet then popping off. I thought that was a great plan, but she did no such thing. She came into the season like a bat out of hell. The second she started campaigning so hard against Suri, immediately I was like, uh-oh, this won't be good for Jenna. Kind of bummed we don't get more from her. I was excited to see her play, but I guess we got the water cooler chat about her coming back after all this time, and she proved that she does want to play hard. Let's get Jenna on that first boot season. We pick back up the next day at Vatu Tribe, where Kyle is on the mend. He's able to walk and tells us he's playing the perfect game. Steph and Genevieve go looking for an idol. Genevieve finds a bundle in a tree. Genevieve reads her note to Kyle, a letter from Billie Eilish, telling her that 80% of the fans voted yes to idols, and this is the Billie Eilish boomerang idol. She has to give her idol to someone on another tribe. If they're voted out with the idol in their pocket, the idol boomerangs back to Genevieve. She tells Steph about the Eilish idol, and they consider who to give it to. She decides to give it to Ozzy, since he's been voted out with an idol before. Over on Sela, Ozzy is providing food for the group. Devins tells us that Ozzy thinks he's indispensable, but he is dispensable. Dispensable Ozzy finds the Billie Eilish idol. He's told that he can't give it to anyone else, and he can only play it for himself. This idol is valid until Final 5. He tells us he just has to not do anything stupid. Coach puts on a red robe and does a little dance as a boat pulls up with a note saying one person from each tribe will go on a journey and can't be one of the players who went on the first challenge. Mike, Savannah, and Colby are sent on the journey. On the journey, they compare notes, with Colby spilling the tea about what Coach did on the journey. Mike tells us he doesn't really judge Coach for stealing the key. They have to decide 2 people to play and 1 person to send back to their camp. They draw rocks, which sends Mike back to camp. Colby and Savannah are playing a stacking game, one at a time, placing pieces on the stack. The player who topples the stack first loses their vote. So they play this little game. Colby is trying to make the tower too tall for Savannah to reach, but he drops the puzzle and loses his vote. They have a strong high five. Colby and Savannah have a little bonding moment where she tells him she looks up to him, and he warms up to her. When Colby leaves, Savannah's left alone. She gets a clue telling her that the fans voted for advantages to be super powerful. She's won a secret block of vote advantage. When Mike gets back to his camp, he tells the group what he heard about Coach in the challenge. Coach is disturbed and activated against Ozzy, annoyed that Ozzy shared that. Coach fears that people will see him as dishonorable. But Mike was told this from Colby, who heard it from Q, not Ozzy. Coach tells Jonathan that Martin Luther King said the measure of man is dictated by how he stands in time of conflict. Coach does Coach Chi to unwind. Colby shares with his tribe that he has no vote. On her tribe, Savannah tells everyone everything except about her advantage. No one's buying it, and Devins fans the flames against Savannah. Back on Vatu, they're all laughs, but a boat comes up with Jeff. We all know they're coming for Kyle. They ask for privacy and everything. The doctor thinks Kyle tore his Achilles tendon. They do a sonogram on Kyle's ankle, which finds his ankle is not pregnant. After a different test, the doctor really thinks Kyle tore his Achilles tendon and will need 3 months of physical therapy and maybe surgery. Kyle wants to stay in the game, but Jeff tells Kyle it's not worth staying in the game and risking long-term issues. So they deliver the news to the tribe. It's a sad goodbye. Kyle gets emotional. They're all crying. Q vows to have a Vatu win in Kyle's honor. So we lose Kyle here, who came into the season as a huge threat. They just watched him win the game. I thought he could be the first boot, but we see him make quick bonds on this tribe, getting involved in the tribe fun, bonding with Steph and Colby, bringing in Genevieve and Q, forming the majority alliance on the tribe. He really was in a great spot, and while this departure is unfortunate, he got to appear on 50, kept his reputation in great shape, and leaves seen still in a positive light. This departure is great for Camilla's game, whose target just got a lot smaller. I would love to see Kyle Kyle on Survivor again, but also where is this challenge and Trader's Call? Before I end this video, I want to assess these tribes, see where we're at coming into the next episode. This purple tribe, I think they're very motivated. I don't think they'll go to tribal. The dynamics on this tribe are weird because they leave off rallied around avenging Kyle's ankle. I guess they have a core four with Steph, Colby, Genevieve, and Q, though how strong that alliance is without Kyle is questionable. And Q and Colby both don't have votes. Rizzo is weaseling his way in with Colby, and Angelina seems maybe liked. We got no strategy from Angelina this episode, which in the long term is concerning, but we didn't hear anything that would make me concerned for Angelina, at least not yet. What stands out to me was that showdown between Genevieve and Aubrey. That feels like it's going somewhere. On the Callow tribe, a group is forming with Coach, Chrissy, Jonathan, Charlie, maybe Mike. They talked about targeting D. Then there's the girls' alliance of D, Camilla, and Tiffany, with Tiffany getting especially no airtime this episode. We saw her making that alliance, and that's it. The new era girls could be in trouble, but I don't think this tribe will go to trouble. This Orange Sela tribe is a mess. Why did they put Suri in that position in the challenge? That was just silly. This tribe is all over the place. You have Savannah with a block a vote. Now they're suspicious of her, and that'll cause paranoia. Ozzy has two advantages. If this tribe loses another immunity, and they very well could, that tribal could be so chaotic, especially if Savannah teams up with Ozzy and Suri and pool their power. But that's all I have to say about this week's episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode, Jenna and Kyle's departures, and what are your predictions for next week? If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. Let's hit 50K by the end of season 50. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye.